Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. There will be no video game footage in this particular video, and judging from what you are seeing on your screen now, I'm sure you will understand why. Now, before we start, let me explain a little about myself and the business that I am a part of. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I am a games critic. I play video games on my channel and provide an analysis and subjective impression based on the gameplay that I experience. The current most popular series on my channel is titled Is It Worth It? And is a first impressions critique of mostly indie titles. I've been known to be blunt, sometimes foul-mouthed, sometimes quite sarcastic, and have proven to be capable of being extremely serious when the need arose. In addition to that, I have done numerous opinion pieces and discussions on a wide variety of industry topics, and the vast majority of those have been very well received by the community at large. I do monetize my videos, and that monetization helps in some small way to partially offset the cost of the video games I review, as the vast majority of those games I do purchase myself out of pocket. Now, my channel has a reputation for honesty, integrity, and consumer awareness and protection. That reputation has garnered me a small but distinguished following on YouTube and has risen my channel to the point that it now stands poised to become a larger, self-sustained entity, potentially even reaching the point that I might even be able to turn my critique channel into a career, something that most YouTubers to some degree or another aspire to, and yes, such a goal is extremely lofty, but I've always been one to shoot for the stars. Now, for the most part, the vast majority of indie devs have learned what the AAA studios, with the exception of Nintendo, learned long ago. That attempting to silence criticism is never a good idea and will always cause far more trouble than it is worth. Indeed, most attempts to silence criticism are an infringement on freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in just such a circumstance here. Now, earlier today, while I was at work, I received a notification via email that I had received a copyright strike for my video, The Dentola Studios Debacle, a SidAlpha Steam Greenlight discussion. Now, in this video, I discussed the game developers Dentola Studios and their posting of 6 games to Steam's Greenlight system all on the same day. It was also discussed that the games in question were in fact directly purchased from the Unity Asset Store and posted to the Greenlight system unaltered and with no original content. Also, citing proof to back up my claims, utilizing visual aids by way of JPEG images from Steam Greenlight storefront paired side by side with pictures of the original Unity Store pages from which the titles were purchased by Dentola Studios. Afterward, while I continued to deride the developers for their blatant anti-consumerism and base greed while utilizing video clips taken from the Unity Store page to accentuate the points that I was making. Now, after this, Dentola Studios continued the practice of deleting any and all negative comments and discussion threads on their Greenlight page as rapidly as they found them in order to censor the truth and prevent anyone from learning about what it was they were up to. That not being enough, they changed the namespace on their Steam Greenlight site in order to render the links to the page that I had posted in the description of my video null and worthless. Thanks to a few enterprising viewers, I was made aware of their continued duplicitous actions and was able to update the video description and the link to the Greenlight page in order to prevent their continued efforts to hide from scrutiny. Their final attempt was to change the name on the account to Finn, spelled F1N. Of course, since the link on my description page was numerical, they could change their name until the universe blinked out of existence and it wouldn't make a damn bit of difference. Finally, realizing this, these polyps on the anus of the gaming community fell upon the last recourse of the truly desperate and the absolutely morally bankrupt indie developer. Silence those speaking the truth at all cost. You see, the individual content creator as a news outlet, critic, or public source of information is, from a legal standpoint, a fairly new development, and the laws governing such entities are woefully out of date. It is because of that lack of current standards that most content creators are so careful about what it is they put onto their channels. The draconic rules governed by the Digital Millennium Copyright Act are very much a guilty until proven innocent system. YouTube takes that guilty until proven innocent mentality to the extreme by way of the automated claiming system that allows anyone to instantly take down any video claiming copyright infringement and jeopardizing the unlucky channel's very existence in the process. And you might think that is hyperbole, that these type of takedowns endanger channels like my own, but it is very much a statement of fact because YouTube has a strict 3 strikes and you're out mentality. 3 copyright strikes on your channel and it goes away forever. All of your videos stricken from the site. All of your hopes and dreams, and for some, their very livelihoods, dashed upon the rocks of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And in more and more cases the world over, this sort of thing is done not for a legitimate copyright infringement, but to silence criticism. To wield the YouTube claim system as a weapon to prevent the proper dissemination of factual knowledge to the consumer in order to prevent them from making an informed decision on your product. It is this fundamental violation of freedom of speech and freedom of the press that Dentola Studios is perpetuating now, and not just with this false copyright takedown. These developers have deleted comments and discussion threads from their Greenlight page in order to silence the truth. The truth that they are not games developers at all, merely people who purchased a prepackaged Unity store asset and are attempting to make a quick buck within the games community and being none the wiser. Now, naturally, my video did something to potentially upset these plans to dupe the consumer, and they had to do what they could to silence my voice. You know, I actually think I should take this as some sort of compliment that I was honestly considered that much of a threat. At the time the video went live, I had barely broken 2,000 subscribers, a feat that is apparently somewhat difficult to do on this site when your channel produces content such as mine. Now, that said, it doesn't excuse what Dentola Studios is attempting to accomplish. Freedom of speech and freedom of the press exist to protect the people from larger entities such as corporations and the government. It allows for the safe dissemination of thoughts, ideas, and facts amongst the populace to ensure an educated, vocal, and informed people. Such ideals and laws have, in part, been extended through fair use doctrine, which governs the use of copywritten materials by non-copyright holders under a specific set of circumstances. However, the video in question doesn't even fall under a potential of copyright infringement. For it to actually fall under Dentola Studios copyright, I would have had to use something, anything of theirs that was indeed copywritten, which, in all actuality, did not happen. You see, JPEGs of the Steam Greenlight storefront are images of material on Steam's site, making the content that is publicly posted there a property of Valve Incorporated. The other JPEGs were of the Unity Asset Store, which, last time I checked, did not belong to Dentola Studios. Alright, so there's 75% of the visual footage contained within the posted video right there. But what about the other 25%, I wonder? Oh, right. Those were the gameplay clips from the YouTube videos of the creators of the Unity assets that Dentola Studios had purchased, which makes that content not even Dentola Studios property. And even if it were, the video in question was clearly a news piece informing the consumer of verified facts with citations included in the video description, which allows my channel the ability to use in a limited fashion visual assets of the discussed games in question for illustrative and informative purposes. Everything else was a statement of opinion, which, last time I checked, opinions are not subject to copyright law. So, enjoy your little moment of quiet, Dentola Studios, as I'm sure you will simply sit on my counterclaim and abuse YouTube's system to the fullest of your ability until the takedown expires 1 month from now, because it is 1 month. That doesn't make me go away. That doesn't make my channel or my viewers or all the other YouTube channels that I am associated with go away either. And those channels care about consumer awareness and consumer protection every bit as much as I do. Now this, my dear viewer, is what happens when an indie developer acts with the utmost of dishonesty and attempts to fight to stay in the shadows. Because lying to and duping their customers only works when their customers don't know about it. People like Dentola Studios don't care about freedom of speech, freedom of the press, fair use law, or anyone or anything else. Quite the opposite. In fact, they have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they will actively attempt to subvert free speech at every possible turn. It is because of people like these that make open critique so crucial within not only the gaming industry, but any industry. For without open and fair critique, we are left in a void where no one knows anything about a given product except what the makers of those products decide they want you to know. Now, people like these who subvert free speech prove at every turn that they will attempt to silence any negative criticism wherever it might be found. And if they are allowed to succeed, we would be left with an industry where the only critiques that you could find would be glowing praises because no one would dare speak out for fear of being struck down. Critics face this type of thing on YouTube on a daily basis. Thanks to the guilty until proven innocent system in place, it is a foregone conclusion that at some point your channel might face instant annihilation because some game developer decided to silence you once and for all. And yet we still do it, my dear viewer. We still put our channels, and in some cases our livelihoods, on the line every time we deal with a company like Dentola Studios. Especially channels like mine that are smaller and don't have a network that is willing to back them up. Indeed, my multi-channel network BBTV will most likely not even respond to my calls for assistance in dealing with this blatantly fraudulent claim. Which is why sometimes even YouTubers like myself have to admit they need help. Awareness needs to be raised, and so I would ask each and every one of you to help carry the torch. Please, share this video to everyone you know. I know it may seem trite and it may seem silly, but please, just this once, do it. Share it to friends, share it to family, and yes, even to your favorite YouTubers, if they're not me, as well as any other YouTuber you might come across, and ask them to do the same. Critics like myself do our best to protect you every single day, but sometimes we need your help in your protection. So in all the seriousness that I possess, please do share this video, tweet it out, post it on Reddit, and vote, and anywhere you can plaster a link, because this type of thing isn't just about me. It's about you and your protection. It is about your right as a consumer to be able to make an informed decision. It's also about your favorite YouTubers, other gaming critics, other platforms, other mediums of being able to disseminate information and being able to inform the consumer. And yes, it's even about not allowing such amoral pieces of scum like Dentola Studios from getting away with a wholly anti-consumer and unethical practice. Now, I'll be donating the ad revenue earned from this video and the video Dentola Studios unlawfully pulled from Steam to the Electronic Frontier Foundation in order to help continue the fight for protecting our freedoms. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I am SidAlpha, and I will see you next time.